Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 24 of Black Canvas Grappling. Now, of course, this episode we are kicking off the Soul Survivor Tour, which I think what we're going to do for the pay-per-view itself is run like a 20-man battle royale. I feel like that kind of will play into the Soul Survivor, obviously the name of the pay-per-view. I feel like it kind of makes sense, and I guess we'll have the winner of that potentially getting a world title shot at Time Battle. Yeah, I think Time Battle. Yeah. So I feel like that would kind of be a pretty good way for us to book these next, well, essentially 10 tour shows. And then I think we'll have, so it's essentially going to be what, 5 episodes of 2 events per episode. I might extend it to 3, possibly, for a longer episode. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, though. This episode, though, only going to be 2 tour shows long, and that is because we are buying our own broadcaster. I finally made up my mind. I only had one comment, which was essentially suggesting what I wanted to do originally. And what we're going to do is have an internet commercial broadcaster, which I would assume is probably the best for us. Again, I'm not 100% sure. Now, I did have a pretty interesting idea that I decided against in the end, and that was to essentially get to medium size first before we do anything. And then once we get on medium, or up to medium size, we could have then gone onto the on-dem broadcaster, which actually has coverage in every region, but they only have tiny coverage. Sorry, they have small coverage in every region but Japan and India. So my thought process was, we get on them, we have small coverage worldwide, which would be massive, but then we could also just buy our own like medium-sized broadcaster in Japan. So that was kind of the idea that I was throwing around in my head. But with that, we'll have to at least wait maybe like 4 to 5 more months. And that also, of course, depends on us actually having good enough pay-per-views to actually increase our popularity up to 59 in Kansai. So I've decided against that. We also needed to have about 2.4 million in the bank, which we obviously don't have at the moment. And I don't think we would actually be able to raise that much money in about 5 months. So what I've decided against doing that. And instead, we're going to go with a small size broadcaster in Canada, which was essentially the option that I was thinking about the most. Mexico came in a very, very close second. I know I spoke about Oceania, but the thing in Mexico is, and they'll be our next region that we expand our broadcaster to, they have a medium-sized pay-per-view deal at, I think, 20... It's either 22 or 26 popularity. We'll check it in a second. But let's get Canada first. Alright, so there we go. That's a big chunk of finance coming out. We're down to only 130,000, which is essentially less money than we actually made last month. But it should be fine. It should be fine. Okay, so essentially the thing that I was looking at, obviously I was looking at the USA as well. So let me show you Mexico first, because that's going to be our sort of future plan here. And it is Selección Mexico. As you can see, medium coverage, cable-based pay-per-view provider, pro wrestling as well, which is pretty cool. However, as you can see, it's only 22 popularity in 3 regions. That would be so quick. Now, it was so close between that and Canada. And literally the only reason why I chose Canada as our first sort of region that we're expanding into in regards to our own broadcaster, and that was essentially because of this. I did show it a few episodes ago, but a 92 wrestling industry in Canada and rising. The economy there is also rising, which is pretty cool to see. So I feel like the popularity growth is going to be massive straight away from the get-go. But also, with a commercial broadcaster, we should hopefully, at least in my mind, we should be making a decent amount of money. We should be making a relatively good amount of money from commercial, from broadcast revenue, essentially. Now, as you can see, the reason why I didn't choose Mexico as our first one, it has a 3 wrestling industry and falling. So that is absolutely dreadful, and the popularity gains would probably be so small and so insignificant that in order for us to get up to 22 popularity and reap the reward of that medium-sized pay-per-view deal, it would take us an extremely long amount of time. It would probably take 12 months. The economy is really good there, but that wrestling industry is just such a massive turnoff. So like I said, we'll probably look to go there next. Hopefully this will recover a little bit. I mean, it's only got, 3 points to fall until it hits 0. And as you can see, Oceania, it's pretty good. It's not too bad. A 57 industry is okay. Like, that's a decent popularity gain from each show. But it is falling. So, again, a similar sort of issue there, but that one's not too bad. So, we might go to this region next. We might. Or there's always Europe, and I guess there's always the UK there as well, the British Isles. I mean, America could be a decent option as well, but that's actually a lot more expensive than some of these other regions. So, yeah. Anyway, we're in Canada. Well, we're not in Canada. We're broadcasting to Canada. So let's actually get into our first show here. Actually, we might need to... Let me try and stop this multi-advance real quick here. And obviously, it's doing that lovely little thing where it likes to not respond. But there we go. Alright, so what I want to do is just make sure that we have our... I'm assuming it'll show on it anyway. As far as our broadcasting goes. Let me just double check. So let's go to, I guess, anywhere. And there it is. Okay, so we do actually need to negotiate. So luckily I did that. All right, so new deal there for tour highlights. And of course we get 100% of the revenue. And yeah, we're in prime time. Obviously everything else there's fine. So we'll sign that deal with our own network. And then we'll also jump onto a new deal there for events as well. So our pay-per-views will be shown in Canada as well. I feel like that's pretty perfect. I feel like that's really going to help us along. It'll be pretty telling, at least after this first show. What I want to do, actually, I want to keep that in mind, that broadcast revenue. So 5,400. And I want to see if it goes up. It probably won't go up too much because we do essentially have 0 popularity in Canada. But I feel like that's a good way. I guess in the future it will be a good way to actually gauge how much we're potentially going to make from our own broadcaster. As far as the costs go, the costs are super low. It's like something like $2,000 per show, which is, you know, pretty... Well, it's not non-existent, but it's really not going to be too much of a blow. And like I said, hopefully the revenue that we gain from it will, you know, just outweigh that sort of cost. Either way, looking forward to actually booking this next tour. Of course, we do have new tag team champions. We might also bring in a few people for the actual Soul Survivor match itself. Not 100% sure if it's going to be 20-man, 25-man. It might even be 30. We'll just have to wait and see. But either way, I feel like doing a Battle Royale, it's going to be pretty exciting. So yeah. Alright, we got a pay rise request here from Tanyu Toshisai. And he finally wants to get upgraded from the 50 per appearance. And I mean, it's a pretty hefty pay rise there for him as well. Alright. We should be getting pretty close to our first Soul Survivor tour show. Alrighty. So yeah, we might look at other wrestlers to possibly sign, although I don't want this episode to go for too long. Like I said, we're only going to do the two tour shows for this episode. But going forward, I think Mighty Mo winning the TCW World Heavyweight title. Of course, if you watch my TCW live stream series, we are currently pushing Mighty Mo, so that's pretty cool to see. I think my Mighty Mo actually has more popularity, so that's very strange. Anyway, we've got Yutaka Agata fully fit, so good to see the young lion back. And now we can, I guess, do a few more things, possibly. Alright, again, let's do some more meddling. Really want to try and... We got 5 negative relationships here. And I guess I really just want to get rid of this one, most of all. There we go! Finally! Okay, meddling success between James Diaz and Yuta Asono. Perfect. Okay. That's actually made me really happy. Alright. Let's go a generic venue in Kansai once again. And I don't really know what we're going to do in regards to matches. I mean, it might be interesting to, like, do all singles matches for this whole tour. Just to do something different. I mean, maybe not, because I probably want to... I want to try and do some storyline advancing. We'll do one singles match anyway. Let's just have Suki take on someone that's not too good. I guess he could take on Kiyotaka, because we are trying to implement a new stable here with Eurogun, and of course, well, they are the new stable, but we're also trying to bring in another new stable. I did kind of hint at it in the last episode, and that is, of course, a possible link-up between Suki and Mibuchi Furusawa. So I think we'll make this the technical masterclass match. Can go on first. So that's pretty good. And again, I guess we might do a Blaster Coma match with his tag team boys, Agata and Kisaka, considering they're all back now. I'm not too sure who I want them to take on, though. That's an interesting question. Let's go Cloaked in Shadows, and then we'll chuck in Naozane Goto as well, I guess. I kind of want to job Goto out a little bit. He does have relatively good popularity. He's got 43 pop in Kansai. So I kind of feel like that'd be decent to get onto somebody that is actually useful to an extent, and not just a bit of a burden. So up next, I think we'll go with Giant Brody and Animal Haka together. And they can take on... Let's go with Mitsukuri and Kinoshita. We'll give him 12 minutes. That should be a relatively good match. I think I want to give Animal Haka the victory, because he has really bad momentum at the moment. I might actually make that the Steal the Show match as well. I feel like it could be pretty good. Now, in regards to the main event, I'm not exactly too sure what I want to do. But I think we'll do something with Shining Force. And so, we'll have them take on... Possibly, let's do the American Cobras. I think we have done this match before. Relatively, you know... Well, it wasn't that long ago is what I'm trying to say. But once again, what we're going to have is... Hanyu Toshisai costing Bunraku Kentori the match. And, you know, tensions are getting pretty high between these two at the moment. Can I have a look at the match history? Oh, we've never actually done it. Okay, well that works out a lot better. And we're going to have an angle post-match between Tori and TEW. And essentially, we're going to have Bunrikuk and Tori, for lack of a better term, absolutely burying his tag team partner. They don't come to blows yet, because we'll save that for the next tour show. But yeah, Tori just says, you know, he's basically a loser, and he's essentially holding Tori down. And the losses have been starting to stack up recently, so obviously he doesn't want that anymore. Now, the next match, let's go with Funakoshi teaming up with Matsushita. And I guess we could throw in... who's someone relatively good? Let's go maybe with Yuta Osono. Let's chuck him in. Chuck him into the fire. Into a big boy match, you know? And then I guess... let's have Sotomura team up with Yokikawa and Sen. I feel like that should actually be a pretty good match. And that will be our final match of the tour show. I guess we can do a pre-show match as well, now that I think about it. Can Yuta call? I think he might be able to call. He's got 60 psychology. And we didn't actually get a warning for it. I might actually make that the steal the show match. I feel like it could do better than this one, if I'm being honest. So, there we go. Let's also give... let's give Mabuchi, Furusawa, and Suki another angle together to actually open the show. And we'll give them 6 minutes together. And that should be pretty good. And we'll chuck that right at the beginning. Alright. Pre-show. What are we going to do for the pre-show? Let's have Team Taku take on someone. And I guess we can just throw together a team. Let's go with James Diaz and Dreadnought. Hopefully these two actually have chemistry. That'd be pretty good. And we will indeed give the victory to Yoshinaka Taku. And there we go. Alright, so that's the pre-show. Let's give it a save there. Just want to double check. You always need to double check your shows. Make sure you do that, guys. But it looks pretty good. Let's run it. And we start off with a 44 rated match on the pre-show. Where we have Team Taku defeating James Diaz and Dreadnought in 11:42 when Yoshinaka Taku pinned James Diaz with a full Nelson bomb. Unfortunately, James Diaz really off his game. And obviously, Dreadnought is not too good. Yeah, that's a good match. It's okay. It is what it is. Obviously, Toshinobu still dragging those match ratings down pretty badly. Alright, we then go into a 74 rated angle, where we have Suki and Furusawa. This essentially talking backstage, and of course Furusawa hyping Suki up a little bit as he gets ready for his singles match. I mean, that match did pretty well for a technical masterclass. We get a 64, where we have Suki defeating Kiyotaka in 14:36 by submission with a Suki special 3. Obviously, the match was a little too short, but again, can't really use Kiyotaka too much. We then go into a 43 rated angle where we have Explosive defeating Naozane Goto and Cloaked in Shadows in 11:53 when Blaster Coma pinned Shadow Ichimori with a Northern Lights bomb. Unfortunately, once again, this time Prowler Igarashi was really off his game. The next match gets a 49 where we have Giant Brody and Animal Haka, so obviously import stable there. And they defeat Mitsukuri and Kinoshita in 11:36 when Animal Haka pinned Ichiro Mitsukuri with a stump pile driver. And unfortunately, Yeah, Koyo Kinoshita this time was really off his game, and as such, became the weak link in the match. And apparently the match was too short, so I'm assuming Giant Brody has kind of pushed himself up, maybe up into a star. That could be a possibility. Anyway, let's advance into the next match, the Steal the Show match, getting a 60 rating. But we have Funakoshi, Rokumon Matsushita, and Yuta Osono, defeating Roku Sotomura and Yokikawa and Sen in 11:45, when Rokumon Matsushita pinned Sujuru Sen with a one-handed chokeslam. And as you'd expect, Funakoshi head and shoulders above everybody else in the match. Pretty good. I mean, Osono got a 35, but was also the weak link, but that's fine. That's a really good main event. We go into an 81 rated tag team main event here, where we have the American Cobras defeating Shining Force in 2015, when Storm Spillane submitted TEW Toshosai with a kneeling Boston Crab. And yeah, very, very solid match. And of course, Shining Force taking another loss there. And the final angle getting us a 72 rating here, where we have Bunraku Kentori, like I said, absolutely going in on TEW Toshosai, calling him a loser, saying that it's pretty much his fault every time they ever lose. And of course, TEW Toshosai, he looks pretty pissed off. He's not a happy bloke at the moment. And he looks like he might want to strike Tori, but he holds back a little bit. They don't come to blows. There's no fighting. And actually, TEW did a masterful job improvising interactions with the crowd. And Tori struggled going off script there. Alright, so we end the show. We get a 74 overall show rating, which increases our popularity in 14 regions there. I'm kind of wondering if that might be... Is that every region? Is there 6 regions in Canada? Did we just get a Kansai popularity increase? I feel like we might have. That was a really good show. That was a really solid main event, the 81. I think that's, what, 1 point away from our highest ever match that we've gotten? Yeah, interesting. Anyway, we've got an opinion here from Toshosai. He thinks Naozen Goto is a star in the making and could make us some serious money. And Mikami thinks Dreadnought is going to be a star, and the kid is worth pushing hard. And then finally, we got Tori, and he thinks Matsushita needs to learn how to sell, and he's not worth pushing until he does. Okay. Quite a few opinions there. Anyway, let's check the size. So we're still at 56, which we were already at, essentially. We've gone up to 29 in Shigoku and Kyushu, which is, it's good. We still need to get to 35 before we can go to medium. But let me check Canada for a second. Did we just gain 4 points of popularity in Canada? No, we gained 1 point. Okay. We were already at a 3 and then a 4 in these regions as well. Okay. And there is 7 regions in Canada. So we didn't actually get the popularity increase like I thought we did. A little bit unfortunate. Anyway, how much? I think we only made about 6,000. Oh, but we're into the... Oh, okay. Okay, that's interesting. Sorry, we started a new month and I didn't even realize. But there we go. So we've already made 6,000 profit so far. I'm just kind of looking at if anything kind of stands out. I think it all looks pretty good, to be honest. And, we literally just need the popularity increases. We are quite a way off getting on any type of broadcaster in Canada. So that kind of... It's a bit of a blow. But at the same time, kind of expected it, to be honest. I've never seen this guy before. Funky Fedora. Is apparently with Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. Currently with US Pro. Anyway, off topic. Alright, let's get into this second tour show. We've got a backstage incident here. But it's just wrestlers caught there for Roku Sotomura. Let's do some more meddling. We were successful with the first one. Let's go with you, Takara Gata and Takanori Doi. No effect, okay. A little bit unfortunate, but anyway, it is what it is, it's fine. Once again, generic venue, and let's book this show. So, I think what we want to do is, let's do an 8-man tag, and we're going to have the formation, or maybe we won't. I'll save that for the next episode. I want to have something special for the next episode, so I'll save that. Anyway, singles match. Let's go with Furusawa, and he can take on preferably someone that has a bit of technical ability about them. Maybe Sotomura, maybe Shuga Amano. Let's go Shuga Amano. I'm curious to see how he's going to do. You know, we probably will be overusing him a little bit, but I feel like that's fine. Because, you know, it is going to be a technical masterclass, so we kind of need it to go 15 minutes. Now, for the main event, let's have... kind of want to do another singles match. So let's do that. And what we're going to do in this one is we're going to have Tori... and he's going to take on... maybe Suki? Maybe Finley. Let's go Finley. I should really, let's get rid of his morale issues as well, while we're at it. This is going to be our main event. And, it's going to be an interesting one. And I'll kind of explain it once we actually get into it. But there is going to be some interference. Unfortunately, we can't... Actually, will this tank the match rating? I think as long as it's decisive and not a tainted victory, it should be fine. So, there, that's our main event. Now, let's go back to the office, because I want to get rid of these morale issues. So, how do I give bonuses again? I've completely forgotten. Here. Alright. Let's give him a $2,000 bonus. Still annoyed, so we'll give him another 2,000, see if that works. Of course, we don't really have a lot of money, and he's still annoyed. Okay, well that kind of backfired. We just gave away 4 grand, which is nearly all the profit we made from our last show. Okay, let's not do that again. I guess his morale issues run a little bit deeper than we thought they might have been. Anyway, I guess the match will suffer due to his morale issues, but I guess, you know, there's nothing we can really do about that. Anyway, next match, we're going to go with Yokikawa and Sen, and I think they can actually take on Agata and Kisaka. Just to give these guys a victory. They have kind of been losing recently, so... and by them, I mean Yokikawa and Sen. So we'll give them a victory there. The next match will go a 6-man tag. And let's have Yuragataya and, of course, Hamasaka and Kiyotaka, Eurogun. And I think they can take on... let's go with Ipitsutsai and Okamasa, and then we'll chuck in Matsuzawa there as well. Give that one 12 minutes. And we'll give Yuragataya the victory. Yeah, we're going to have to script that as well, because of Kiyotaka. There's Eurogun, getting a nice victory for themselves. Nothing too impressive. Let's actually make that the Steal the Show match. And then finally, we'll go with, I think, maybe a 4-man, or an 8-man tag. 4 men on each side, of course. And let's go with the Rockimon Matsushita. Let's go with the American Cobras. And let's go with Reizan Okamoto. And I guess they can kind of take on anybody that's left to an extent in regards to our young lions. So let's go with Kubo. Let's chuck in Hisaka. And let's chuck in Dreadnought. And we'll give them all 12 minutes. Let's give Okamoto the victory. Of course, he had the loss to Funikoshi at the pay-per-view. And there we go. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. So, in regards to angles, we are going to finish off the show with Bunraku Kentori and Tanyu Toshisai. And it's going to be a fighting angle. And we'll give it 4 minutes. And yeah, they're going at it. I don't think anybody's involved in the storylines there, so that's fine. That's our ending angle, and then I guess we'll give Furusawa an angle. I kind of want to let's give Furusawa an angle. So Mabuchi Furusawa. And then let's put both of his proteges with him. So we need Ichiro Mitsukuri and then Koyo Kinoshita. They're not going to be rated, but we'll give it 8 minutes. And that's fine. So they're going to essentially be in tow, and they're going to be standing behind him on either side of his arms as sort of like the muscle. But obviously, there's been no actual talk about a proper stable yet. It's kind of just being alluded to. But Furusawa or Suki haven't really made it official yet. And like I said, we'll probably get into that next episode. Anyway, pre-show match. We'll just do another tag match. This time we'll go with Miura and Yoshizawa. And I think they can take on... the Wild Animals, I think. Just in a nice 12-minute pre-show match. And we'll give the victory to Yoshizawa. And there we go. That is the pre-show. Alright, so let's run the show. It looks pretty good to me. And we start off with a 51 for our pre-show tag, where we have Miura and Yoshizawa defeating the Wild Animals in 11:31, when Inajiro Yoshizawa pinned Wild Red Stallion with the End of the World. And yeah, Wild Red Stallion was really off his game on this tour show. A lot of the young lions must have pretty bad consistency, because they often are off their games. Alright, so we then go into an 84 rated angle with Mabuchi Furusawa. And of course, like I said, alongside is Mitsukuri and Kinoshita. So hopefully their popularity is going to get a decent boost for being in an 84 rated angle. Obviously, they're not rated themselves, but I'm assuming they still get the popularity, so that'll be pretty interesting. Obviously, Furusawa is an absolute star. We all know that, and I just really hope we don't lose him. Hoping his popularity might go even higher than 64. That it is, it is 64 right now. But I'm assuming that might be the popularity cap for the small size. Anyway, we then go into his match, which gets a 60 rating for the technical masterclass. And we have Furusawa defeating Shuga Amano in just under 15 minutes by submission with a Furusawa armbar. It was a really good match. 76 in-ring there. I mean, Shuga Amano only had a 23. So he was lacking a little bit. But he is a young lion, so it doesn't matter too much. We then go into a 51 rated tag team match where we have Yokikawa and Sen defeating Agata and Kisaka in 12 minutes when Sujuru Sen submitted Yutaka Agata with an over-the-shoulder backbreaker. And of course, Agata, he's really not doing too well. He's only getting, obviously he's been out with injury, but only got a 26 in-ring performance. And as you can see, Ginji Kasaka got a 39. So either he's really improved or he's just really been left behind. And by him, I mean Agata. Pretty interesting. Anyway, moving on to a 57 rated 6-man tag where we have Eurogun defeating Matsuzawa and Iputsutsai and Okamasa in 11:34 when Masashi Urigataya pinned Yori Iputsutsai with a jumbo backdrop suplex. And of course, Iputsutsai was the weak link as well. Only getting a 28, so he might be one we look to maybe get rid of soon. He's like 43 or 44 years old. Really bad. And like I said, I do want to kind of push Okamasa, so we might look to do that. Or we could maybe put Matsuzawa and Iputsutsai together as kind of like a jobber tag team that we could eventually feed to the Young Lions. That could be a pretty interesting scenario. Anyway, nice little victory there for Eurogun. Alright, we then go into our 8-man tag, which gets a 52 rating, where we have Rokumon Matsushita, Reizan Okamoto, and the American Cobras, defeating Takanori Doi, Nobuyuki Kubo, Iki Hisaka, and Dreadnought in 12:07, when Reizan Okamoto pinned Takanori Doi with a brain buster suplex. Yeah, I mean, it's an okay match. Of course, we've got a team full of young lions there, so, you know, I mean, it's good enough. 52 is pretty average. Obviously, this sort of senior team carrying them to a decent rating. And then the main event getting us a 78, where we have Big Bruiser Finlay defeating Bunraku Tori in 20 minutes, 24 seconds by pinfall with an atomic spinebuster. And during the match, we also had Tanyu Toshisai run in and attack Tori. So yeah, Tanyu had enough, especially after the words at the last tour show from his tag team, well, former tag team partner, I guess now, in Tori. And of course, his run out essentially cost him the match, but I can't actually book it that way because we will get a penalty. Yeah, 78's really good. As you can see, Finlay only getting a 58 in-ring performance. That's pretty dreadful. And I'm assuming it has a lot to do with his morale issues, so we kind of need to get that figured out and get that sorted. I might give him like a $4,000 bonus in the future just to try and get rid of those. Because I do have big sort of plans for Finlay. So it's kind of imperative that we get him performing to it, similar to Okamoto, to the best of his ability. Anyway. And then we end the show with a 63 rating, where we have Bunraku Tori and Tanyu Toshisai. And of course, they are brawling as the tour show finishes. And yeah, there we go. The tag team of Shining Force seems like it is no more. Alright, so our overall show rating for this one, only 1 point lower than the previous show. So I think both shows this episode have been really good, which is, you know, it's great to see. We get a 73, and of course the last one was a 74. Alright. Once again, I want to check our popularity in Canada and just see if we actually went up to 5 popularity. Yeah, we actually went up to 5 in every region, so I mean that progress is going to come pretty quick. Let's take a quick look at the Canadian broadcasters and see what we're sort of going to need. Alright, so Canada 1 choice, that is medium size. Big size there. We've got small size here, so we need 28 popularity to get onto this commercial internet site. Which is actually pretty good. It's got small coverage. And, you know, I mean, that'll be okay. It's highly pro wrestling. There might be something better. Let's go down. We've got another medium-sized company here. Another medium-sized broadcaster there as well. Another medium-sized one there. We've got Netstream. So this is on dem, and this is what I was talking about before. So as you can see, you just need medium size, and you don't need any popularity. And as you can see, they're small in the US, small in Canada, small in Mexico, small in the British Isles as well. Only tiny in Japan, which kind of works for us a little bit, because we could get a broadcaster of our own. They're very small in Europe, small in Oceania, and like I mentioned, they're tiny in India as well. That was kind of what I was thinking, but I'm not sure if we would have been able to get a medium-sized broadcaster, because it did cost 2.4 million in Japan. So anyway, we've got pay-per-view services, which is medium as well. This one's medium as well. So as you can see, most of these Canadian deals are medium. Now this one is small, but this one, it needs 32 popularity in 10 regions. And as you can see, it does cover the US and Canada. So we essentially can't get the popularity in 10 regions. That one is negligible. We unfortunately can't get on the Pop network because it is a kids broadcasting style. Now, I'm pretty sure this one we can get on. So, as you can see, we only need 35 popularity in 5 regions to get a small pay-per-view provider in Canada. So, this is kind of the one that I want to go for. We want to get our events put onto pay-per-view so we can earn some sort of decent money from a pay-per-view revenue. And then I guess, where is it? This one. Canadian Eye Broadcasting would probably be the deal that we go for until we get that popularity, and maybe even for our tour shows, we could stick on this one. But yeah, U-Demand is probably what we're going to go for. And that is essentially it, because we can't get on Wrestle World, as you need to be based in either the Canada or US regions. So that's fine. Like I said, we need 35 popularity. It will come quick. Essentially every show we run. So we're essentially only going to need to run about 30 more shows. And as you can see, we run a lot of shows. We've got 10 shows. Well, 11 if you count the actual pay-per-view itself. So, we run a lot of shows. We run a lot of events. The popularity in Canada is really... it's not going to take too long to get up to 35, even to 28, so we can get on the internet broadcaster as well, preferably for our tour shows. I don't really want to put the events on there. I'd rather just wait for the extra 7 popularity. Anyway, that is it from us, or from me, sorry. I've enjoyed this episode. We've gotten a lot done. 2 really good tour shows, and of course, we finally invested in our own broadcaster, and we now have coverage in Canada, and we are building towards getting a pay-per-view provider for ourselves in Canada. So that's kind of the next goal we're going to go for, at least in the sort of next couple of months in game time. I think within 3 months, we should have the pay-per-view provider in Canada. And once we get that, I'm assuming our revenue will actually be pretty good. So that's kind of what we're going for. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure you drop a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you turn on the notifications as well. And hopefully that'll keep you up to date with all these episodes coming out in the future. As always, guys, take it easy and goodbye.